Welcome to another edition of Onside SA. Well, we've got right down to last one standing, and it could have been smaller. Arsenal getting that last gasp winner.
Yeah, it was like Fergie time, Paul.
Fergie
Play till they
time.
score, yeah.
Play till they score, but they took 4 people through. If they hadn't, it would have been Patrick Loca versus Andre van Basten.
Can you believe it, Pauls? Yeah.
Andrew from Boston. So it's 6 of them that have gone through. Leicester and Tottenham took some out. But while we're talking about it, the last one standing for this current year starts this weekend. Is that
Yeah,
right,
Paul, yeah. Kick off the early game, and there'll be plenty on Bournemouth, Liverpool. So you want to use them, get your picks in early. But, I've sent everybody the initial,
Yes,
telling them all what was going, and I'll be following it up Friday just to let everybody know what's going on.
Listen, you want to travel overseas, you want to go watch a top game. You don't want to watch Man United or Spurs, but there are other teams. Chelsea's coming right, Liverpool are coming right.
What about Fulham?
Fulham, yeah, what about them? So don't forget, we're going to find out who's going to win from these final 6 and the last one standing. The 6 entrants that remain. Kelly Potts, fantastic.
Brilliant, Paul. Leading lady, yeah.
Yeah, then Jordan Story, yeah. Phineas Loca, Paddy Loca, Brett Galley, Mark Viljoen, he's still going, eh? And Andrew from Boston. So they're all going. Right, let's see. I heard it was freezing over in England. I spoke to Mike Abood. He told me 0 degrees. So
it's snowing in Preston. Stephen sent a couple of clips. Yeah.
Derek Ramsey told me Wales. My family told me it's snowing, and let's see if Stevie B's got up from under the duvet. Steve, are you about?
I'm here. Good morning.
Cold enough?
Yeah, just about. We had snow yesterday. It's still lingering.
Okay.
Talk about lingering, Steve. What has been the reaction Chelsea-Dortmund, especially with the penalty? I thought it was a harsh penalty initially, but I think it would have been given in England. But the retake was a disgrace. What has the reaction been?
To be honest, I think the press have just been focusing on the fact that Chelsea got through a reprieve for Potter, and is this the turning point for their season? They didn't seem to really dwell much on whether the retake was fair or not. I think it was more about is this the Chelsea resurgence? Yeah.
In fairness, though, Koulibaly could have had a couple. They had chances, but Sterling looks off form. I don't know what it is. I must say the 3-5-2 suits them with the 2 wing backs, but if they don't get a decent striker, they're going nowhere. But I'm glad for Potter, and they deserve to win, Steve. I thought Dortmund were woeful.
Yeah, Dortmund had a lot of the ball, but they one or two chances, and they certainly threw a lot of men forward. But as you say, Chelsea could have had more, and it was a decent performance. It was certainly a notch above what they've been sort of producing recently. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue this sort of intensity in the Premier League games.
Yeah, Leicester will be a test. Other game I watched a little bit of highlights. Benfica beat your old manager 5-1.
Parker.
Well, he got sacked yesterday, which is no surprise.
No, I watched him a few times. He hasn't improved in one thing,
No,
so it was obvious
they've struggled this year.
Bayern Munich, PSG, I watched the first hour of it. If PSG had scored when they should have, instead of the guy trying to be clever, just blasted it in. The game was on, but once they gave that goal away and Choupo-Moting scored, that was them gone.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what happens at PSG with Mbappe, Steve. What do you think?
When you think about it, I mean, he's broken the scoring record. He's got nothing more to prove there. Another year only winning the French league effectively. Is that good enough? I think I wouldn't be at all surprised if Real Madrid can afford to bring him in. That's the bottom line. I'm not sure he'd come to the Premier League. I mean, that would be incredible if he did. But the clubs here could afford it. But if they really wanted to. But it'd be interesting. I mean, I think Neymar's out for the season. Messi probably going to go. I think they just need to sort of change the whole sort of bringing in the Galacticos and sort of build a stronger team.
Yeah, I felt for them, but at the end of the day, the first leg cost them. Now, on to your team, Paul.
Not good enough. I watched both TVs, had both games going all the time. Never created enough chances. We had nobody else we could throw on. We tried everything. They were quicker, sharper, hungrier. And Romero again blotted his copybook.
Yeah.
You know, stupid timing tackles twice. Yeah, so I don't know. It's the end of another season for us without any silverware. We just got to go and fight to try stay in there. But I wouldn't be surprised if Conte doesn't stay.
Yeah. To me, Paul, just watching it, I don't think the fans would beg him to stay. That was terrible.
He's got just two defences.
Yeah.
He's got 12 matches left at Spurs, I believe. That's all he's got.
I wouldn't renew his contract. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean the press here, last night and this morning have been very critical. I mean they pretty much seem to think that Conte is just marking time now. They can't see him staying beyond the season, and they don't think that Tottenham would keep him. The big talk is all about whether this is it for Harry Kane now. If he wants to win have a trophy in his cabinet. He's got to leave in the summer basically, and that's what the press are all leading with this morning.
Paul, your boys, are they the same?
No, they're not pushing the Kane story now. He's 29. They're all about Conte in all my articles, He's just, when he first started there, he had so much more passion. I know he's been ill.
Yeah.
He was up and down that touchline. Not it's enough, but, too many good players have gone backwards. Song was not playing with soccer balls, playing with a rugby ball. Yeah. Kulusevski can't go past a player anymore. Yeah. Kane's getting very little service. Richarlison's getting very little time.
Yeah.
Our player to go forward, Bentancur's not there, Basuma's not there, and the two in the middle have a go. They'd be no complaints, but I don't know where Sanchez is weak. The keeper's rubbish. Rubbish. So they have to start again. That's the nature of this beast.
Yeah. Pochettino, that's the talk, and don't know whether he would come back, but
He'd come back in a heartbeat.
Would he? Yeah.
Heartbeat.
Yeah, got to give it a Conte. This I can't have
Italian
three centre
defensive
halves.
stuff.
Everyone plays one. Yeah, just he's gone. Time to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Steve, tonight, can my boys, after humiliation, whatever you want to call it, you think they'll rebound against Real Betis?
Well, I mean, it will be a stern test. I mean, they're having a really decent season. Real Betis in La Liga. I think that he'd want to see a reaction, and I would be surprised if he didn't play a very strong team, irrespective of the fact they got a league game at the weekend. I think that they need to bounce back from that, and I'm sure he's read them the riot act. Be interesting to see how players like Fernandes react, because his performance was shocking. The way that he just basically threw his arms up and gave up last week wasn't good enough. So I'm sure behind the scenes that must have been discussed.
Steve, you're lucky to stay on. You don't got to push a linesman or a referee's assistant.
They showed it last night. It's surprising. Evidently, the referee didn't put it in his report. If the referee doesn't put it in his report, then no action is going to be taken. Yeah. So it was. It was just all part of the way in those last sort of 15 minutes or so that he literally was just acting out and just very petulant. It was, the fact that he wanted to come off. I mean, it was embarrassing. He's a captain and he didn't want to stay on the pitch. But I think they'll have to put in a better performance. But I think it'll be a good game.
Now, what's Real Betis against Real Madrid? Courtois made a couple of saves.
Is he good?
Yeah, they're not a bad team. It's Pellegrini's team. They're well organized. They're negative, but still they can play. Yeah. As far as my take on that United thing, Steve, I just think there's a couple of guys that have come to the end of their contracts or end of their tenure at Man United. Because I was always told that you see a person when he's under pressure, 3-0 down, let's have a look. And there's several of them went missing. It's easy to play when you're 3-0 up. His time's up too, in my opinion. He's had a good season, but I think a lot of them have spilled the beans. And Ten Hag, all you can do is keep quiet, rectify what happened, and wait till the end of the season. There'll be new players coming in and several of them travelling. But
I think you're right. I mean, there is a lot of talk about having a huge clear out. I think he would rather bring in one or two quality players and get rid of some of the dead wood. And I think there will be a big clear out in the summer. But obviously, they are going to have to back him again with some serious funds if they want to bring the right players in.
Yep, no doubt. Steve, Arsenal travelled to Portugal to play Sporting Lisbon. Every Arsenal man I've spoken to says we must rather forfeit this to win the league.
They could get nothing then.
Yeah, and you could get nothing. I would try and have a go. I think he's going to rotate. Sporting Lisbon are a good side. I think they played Spurs early on in the year, didn't they?
They're not a bad side.
They beat Spurs in Lisbon. Look, they're a decent side. They sold one or two of their best players, but still, are strong. I think if he rotates too much, they could come unstuck. I think that he will rotate. But he's got a decent squad, and I think he'll give them all an opportunity. But I think he might sort of rotate tonight and then play a slightly stronger, team in the second leg. So look, it is. I think for them, it's all about winning the league this year. This is a great opportunity. They haven't been anywhere near it for goodness knows how many years. So I think they're going to throw everything at winning the league, and if that means sacrificing the Europa League, I think that's what they do.
Yeah, 4 more rounds of the Europa League. And last but not least, West Ham have been woeful. Travel to Cyprus to play AEK Larnaca. Do you think he'll play his best team?
Well, I think he's going to have to play a strong team because it was such a poor performance at the weekend. I think that he needs to get a bit of a reaction. And they've got a tough game at the week. So, again, he can't afford to keep losing games. Otherwise, he's not going to be there by the end of the season, David Moyes. So I think he'll rotate a bit. I don't think he's got a choice, but he's not going to want to get humiliated. I mean, Larnaca are probably one of the weakest teams left in the competition. Yeah. So I think he can afford to rotate key players and still sort of, get through this round.
Yeah, totally agree. On to the weekend's fixtures, and every Liverpool guy I've seen, they've all come out the woodwork. The Liverpool shirts are everywhere. I haven't seen too many United shirts, and quite rightly so. But Liverpool travel to Bournemouth Saturday lunchtime. Surely after that 7-0 victory, this should be a gift, 3 points.
Well, you would think so. I mean, Bournemouth, to be fair to them, put up a real fight at Arsenal, although obviously they were hanging on at the end and they couldn't quite do it. I think they'll give Liverpool a game. I think Liverpool should win comfortably, as City did there a couple of weeks ago. I think, look, they've just found their scoring boots. I'm sure they're going to want to continue in that vein because obviously if they win that game early, they go into 4th place ahead of Tottenham. So I think that I think it'll be a good game, as you say. Sometimes these lunchtime kickoffs can cause a little bit of an upset, but I fancy Liverpool by at least 2 clear goals.
Yeah, a few years ago, weren't Liverpool 3-0 up and lost 4-3?
I think it was 3-1 up and they lost 4-3. Yeah, Ake scored Nathan Ake scored the winner. But I'd be very. I mean, if that happened, I think that would be a shock.
Yeah.
But I think the way they played in last week, you have to think that they've. Without the distraction of the cuts, because I can't see them, obviously coming back in at Madrid. So I think, for them, it's all about 4th place, and I fancy them to get it.
Yeah, they did it a couple of years ago, and they're on a roll. This next game, if ever there's a game that's nailed on a draw, Everton-Brentford, the bookings would be the way I go there, because 2 well-organised teams. The ball's could be out of shape because they're both direct sides.
Yeah.
I don't see Brentford winning. I was very impressed with them on Monday when they beat you. I know Fulham didn't play too well, Steve, but for me, this has got draw written all over it. How do you see it?
Well, look, I mean, Brentford have got the longest unbeaten run in the Premier League at the moment, 12 games. So I think, they're making themselves hard to beat. Everton, look, sure that they can't afford to lose this. I mean, they're in trouble. I think... he will make sure that he tries to keep that goals against down to 0. I don't think it'll be a particularly exciting game, and I think that I don't think there'll be many goals in it at all because I just think Everton can't afford to lose it. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's a low-scoring draw. But Everton are going to have to find a little bit of better form than they did in their last home game.
Yeah, Brighton away at Leeds. Steve, Leeds has scored 4 goals in the last 9 games. Great chance for Brighton to close the gap.
Brighton are playing some lovely football. I mean, it's I saw an incredible stat this week. They're matching Man City for possession since De Zerbi has gone there. They're basically about 60% possession in almost every game. They're not frightened of the ball, and they play through teams and with some lovely football. Leeds are in trouble. I mean, they're trying hard, but I just think that they run around like headless chickens at time. Yeah. If Brighton sort of play as they did last weekend, I think they could come away with an away win there.
Yeah, I fancy Brighton as well. Leicester-Chelsea. Are Chelsea back, Steve? Leicester, I can't believe they got beat last week by Southampton. That Iheanacho missed 3. There's going to be goals in this game, Steve.
I think so. I mean, Leicester score goals at home. I mean, they should have been clear at one point at Southampton, and obviously got caught out and couldn't quite do it. Confidence is obviously very low. If Maddison needs to get back to full fitness, I think this will be a tight game. I think Leicester are being sucked back into trouble again after a couple of wins, and I think Chelsea put a lot of effort into that game against Dortmund. He probably will rotate again a little bit because that's what he does, Potter. But I've got a feeling there'll be goals in this, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Leicester hold them.
Yeah, guaranteed to be goals, especially the way Leicester can't defend and can attack. Paul, Spurs rebound?
Have to. Dyer will come in. We'll change the formation. I put Song back on the bench. Give him his rugby ball, go on the bench. Give Richarlison a bit more time. Gives Kane a bit of space, and then he can throw in. Perisic is struggling. I would rather throw in Porro down the right. He's attacking, and play the Brazilian down the left. We should be strong through the middle. No, we will be unfortunate if we don't win this game.
Yeah. Forest have a go, but away from home they're being woeful.
Yeah.
For me, if I want to get rid of this 3-5-2. I don't care. All 3 centre halves, Dyer and another. Put an extra midfield player, and let's have a go. That's where you're getting outplayed in the midfield. The two poor guys.
Every time.
So for me, this tactical awareness, it's 3-5-2 is dead.
No, I think we're good things.
Yeah. Okay. Steve, do you agree?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, Forest have got the worst away record in the Premier League. I saw them recently, and you look what West Ham did once they went ahead. Tottenham have can't play as they normally do in the first half. They've got to show some intensity and have a go at them, because if they get a goal in or 2 in the first half, they'll run riot. It's all very well saying showing teams respect in the first half, but all it does is give teams confidence. So I agree with Paul. They just got to throw minute of this. They can't afford a hiccup in this game, because with Liverpool breathing down their neck, I think this is a must-win game for them.
They're all there.
Yeah, I agree. Spurs good things.
What about the late game?
On to the next game, Crystal Palace, Man City. Steve, I think Man City will destroy them. Crystal Palace can't score. They've drawn the last 4 at home. They haven't won in 9.
Yeah.
Man City get ahead. They keep the ball. I don't think they'll be too clever. I think this is going to be a harding. I saw 4-1 Man City to win, over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score. I hesitated, but I'm going to have a bet on that.
You've got to hope Crystal Palace get a goal.
It's tight, Paul, I just can't see it the way they're playing. Yeah. They're woeful. Steve, Man City all day?
Yeah, look, they should do. I mean, Palace have held teams recently. Obviously, held Liverpool, held United, without creating that much. They are hard to beat at Selhurst Park. But, as you say, City, just starting to find a bit more, scoring goals. And if they do score first, City, I think they're going to win comfortably. And again, Palace are just getting sucked into it. They obviously had a decent start, but they're not a lot clear. So I think they need to be careful. But I can see them sitting back against City, and it could be fairly dull until City score that first goal, and then maybe it'll be more of an open game.
Yeah, City to win both halves. I thought it was 18-10. I think City will destroy them.
Yeah, so do I.
Steve, I think after watching your display on Sunday, I think you're in trouble against Arsenal.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. I mean, look, even if we were at full strength with Palhinha back and a fit Mitrovic, I think that Arsenal would be too strong. I mean, they're playing. You watch Arsenal and they're easy on the eye, especially when they score goals from all over the place. I have no illusions that this is going to be a very tough game for us. Our season isn't going to be defined about how we do against Arsenal. We were unlucky over there. We played very well at the Emirates and lost to a very late goal, having taken it. So I think it'll be close for a while, but Palhinha is a big miss. He's suspended for one more game.
I still think you've got a shot, Steve. I still think you've got a good year. I think we'll give them a good game, but I fancy Arsenal by a couple of goals, in all honesty. I don't know. Fulham scored first. Listen, but I thought Arsenal would thump Bournemouth. They didn't. Yeah. They're starting to show a little bit of jittery nerves. Let Fulham get on the score sheet, passing the ball around. This game could be very interesting. Arsenal the better side, but Fulham a good side at home.
Yeah. As I say, I just think Paulinho's a massive miss, especially in that midfield battle. You know, they've good players in the Arsenal. I think you're under pressure. Steve, the next game, Man United, Southampton. Surely we got to beat Southampton at home.
Certainties.
Well, you would think so. Obviously, look, I think he's gonna have to play a few of his main players against Betis. He doesn't, I don't think they want to start throwing tournaments. They got a chance in that. Yeah. So Southampton, look, they've won a couple of games recently. Obviously, beating Chelsea and beating Leicester. They're not adrift. I think they'll give it a go. United can't afford to slip up. Again, with Liverpool sort of not that far behind in the grand scheme of things, I think this is the game that they've got to sort of perform as they have done up until the Liverpool game. I think it will be a tight game. I can't see United running away with it, because I think Southampton would be hard to beat. But I fancy United by the odd goal.
Yeah, as long as United don't give away ridiculous free kicks and near the box, Ward-Prowse obviously scores against us all the time, but I think United should win comfortably, even though we're playing tonight.
Good things.
Next game is a big game, Steve. I'm all over Aston Villa here. I can't have West Ham, even though their home form has improved. I don't know what's gone. Declan Rice, when he passed his comment about Roy Keane had a go at him, and he came back, well, at least I'm still playing. And, are you kidding me? When I read that, he's having a go at Roy Keane. He's got to step up, because they're in trouble, West Ham, Steve, and they're going to have to score a couple here, because I fancy Aston Villa. How do you see it going?
Yeah, no, I do. I think Villa are playing with a lot of confidence. They're scoring goals. Obviously, Ollie Watkins is scoring. Yeah, Declan Rice, I think, is a bit unsettled. There's a lot of talk about him leaving in the summer. He's not keen to sign a new contract. And they're under a lot of pressure there. Obviously, they had a big win last time out at home, but they undid that with a really poor display at Brighton. I mean, they were torn to shreds by Brighton, and I don't think that was in no way was that an acceptable performance from them. And obviously, they've got to start turning it around. But I think Villa are not going to sit back. I think Villa will have a go, and I think it'll be a difficult game for them.
Yeah, so do I fancy Aston Villa. 23-10, my value bet of the weekend. Steve, I was really impressed with what I saw for Newcastle against Man City. They got beat, but they held their own. I think now that they're out of the cup, I still think they've got a shot to finish top 4. I think they'll beat Wolves. Do you agree?
I think that Wolves are certainly improving. There's no question. I mean, they rode their luck against Tottenham. Yeah. I think you're right. I think the pressure is off Newcastle in a way, because they're now the hunter. They're as opposed to being hunted. I think that it's going to be hard for them personally for them to finish above Liverpool, and you saw that. When Liverpool went there and beat them. I mean, they've struggled. Newcastle. They've only one win since the World Cup, and that was against a last-minute goal against Fulham. I think they probably will win Newcastle, but it's going to be. I think Wolves have got nothing to lose; they'll have a go.
Yeah, I just think that having the League Cup final, they didn't get the rub of the green. If St Maxim had scored first, they conceded before half-time, and all the build-up, getting to the final, haven't won a trophy in so long. I think it played its part. Nah, that's out the way. I expect them to have a good end of the season. On to the Championship, where we kick off on Friday night. Stoke City against Blackburn Rovers. Steve, how do you see it?
No, it'll be a good game. Look, Blackburn are in having a sort of fairly rich vein of form, but Stoke, as we know, very unpredictable and had a huge win last weekend. Really against the odds to win at Sunderland like that. I think Stoke are probably just a little bit too far adrift of a playoff place, but I think they'll give it a go. Blackburn are sitting pretty in the playoff. I don't think they'll catch the top 2, but I think they're fairly nailed on for a playoff place unless they fall away as they did the end of last season. I think this will be a good game. I think there'll be goals. But it could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel each other out, but I think that'd be an entertaining game.
Yeah, big game for Blackburn. They won 4 in a row, and they're looking for the playoff spot, let alone automatic promotion. But Stoke, difficult team to beat at home. Bristol City, Steve, I think they're good things to beat Blackpool. I know Blackpool drew last week. It cost us money when they drew with Burnley. But Bristol City, they drew in midweek against Huddersfield. I expect them to win here, Steve. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. By all accounts, they through the kitchen sink at Huddersfield and couldn't quite break through. But they've been scoring goals of late, and I fancy them to win that.
All right. Birmingham City, Rotherham.
Well, look, Rotherham, keep surprising us. Just when you think they're getting really sucked into it, they had a good win against QPR last week. Birmingham, very disappointing recently. I wouldn't be at all surprised Rotherham go there and get something, at least a draw.
Yeah, you say 1 point in the last 5 games, Birmingham City at home. The only team they beat was West Brom. And we were on West Brom that night. They really played well, all those United kids. Seem to be struggling, but you never know. Both teams to score 9-10. I think that's our play in that game. Surely Burnley have got a rebound in the Lancashire derby against Wigan Athletic?
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, Wigan have obviously, started to pick up a bit, but they're still right at the bottom. Burnley, at home are strong, and they find a way to win, and I think they'll do that comfortably in the end.
Yeah, it was even money to win by more than one goal, so I think that's a gift.
Coventry
Coventry City, Steve, against Hull City. I'm all over Coventry City here. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, definitely. They're having a good run. Hull, of late, they had a good win last week, Hull, surprising against West Brom. But I think Coventry are just are playing well. They had a bit, they've started to put a little run together. They're not far adrift of a playoff place. If they can win another couple, but I think they should be too strong.
Yeah, I watched them against Sunderland. I was really impressed with what I saw. Now, my beloved Preston North End, away for another 0-0 home draw, Steve. I can't believe he's 16-10. I know Cardiff City have improved, but away from home they've been woeful. I believe if Preston score, we'll win. 16-10, I think, is not a bad price.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, again, it's you could have put your money on them getting 0-0 last week at Watford, and listening to reports, and every time they went over to the reporter, he said, look, this is going to finish 0-0, and he was right. So I think you're right. I think if they score, they'll probably win. It will be I suspect it'll be a low-scoring game. But as you say, Cardiff have improved a bit, but not necessarily away from home. But so I think probably good things for Preston, but only by a goal.
Yeah, we don't score too many goals. Hopefully Troy Parrott turns up and scores a few. The team out of form in that league is Queen's Park Rangers against your brother's team, Watford. I like Watford of the two teams, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's a draw here. How do you see it?
Well, QPR are having a shocking season. If it wasn't for the fact that they had such a good start, they would be in that bottom three. I mean, their form in the last few months is actually the worst of any team in the division, with only one win in literally something like 18 games. But they're due a win. I mean, that's the crazy thing, and they've got the new manager there. I'm sure wasn't satisfied with what he's seen, but I think Watford should be too strong. I just think if there was to be a winner, I fancy Watford.
Yeah, same with Reading. Disappointing. I thought they'd score against Sheffield United in midweek. That cost me money.
Yeah.
Millwall are going well, Steve. I don't know. I think 12-10 may be short, but I don't see Millwall losing there. How do you see it?
No. I mean, by all accounts, Reading had a go. They had some chances against Sheffield United, but Sheffield United sort of dug deep, and that was a good win for them. Millwall have been quite strong recently. Obviously, they were a bit disappointed to lose the big game at home to Norwich last week, but I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll get at least a draw there.
See, the big game onto our next page is Sheffield United at home to Luton. Two sides, obviously one automatic and the other one trying to get in the playoff places. This is a tight game, Steve. Even money Sheffield United?
Yeah, I think it will be a tight game. I mean, they bounced back Sheffield United with a good win during the week. They had a good win, obviously, against Tottenham in the Cup. Luton don't lose many, as we know, away from home. But I think of the two, if there was to be a winner, I would go with the home team.
All right. Sheffield, Swansea City against Middlesbrough?
Well, look, Middlesbrough, I mean, it came unstuck recently, but they're still right up there, and I think they're chasing Sheffield.
Yeah.
Swansea, you just don't know what you're going to get with them. They're not an easy team to beat at home, but I think if Chuba Akpom has his scoring boots on again, as he has for most of the season, I could see Middlesbrough getting a result there.
Yeah, I fancy them 12-10 in all our bets. I think Swansea's a nice stadium, so you can play good football, and that's what Michael Carrick's team do. I fancy Middlesbrough all day. West Brom, Steve, closing the gap on the playoff places. Too good for Huddersfield?
They should do. I mean, Neil Warnock's obviously trying to get the best he can, but they were well beaten the last time out away from home, and I think West Brom should be too strong.
And last but not least, Sunday game. I'll be looking forward to this. Norwich City, Steve, 9-10. I was going to make them my best bet against the Sunderland team. They've lost a few in a row, conceding too many. I'm all over Norwich. How do you see it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think so. I think Norwich had a really good win at Millwall, coming from a goal behind to go 3-1 up. And I think, obviously they've had a bit of a stop-start season, Norwich, but I think they're just starting to find their straps a little bit. And I think, as you say, Sunderland's been conceding a lot of goals recently, and I think that Norwich should be too strong.
All right, Steve, pressure time again. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
I was going to go for that. I'm torn between Norwich, but I might go for Bristol City as my best bet. I think at home they're strong. And my value bet, you mentioned it, I'm going to go for Villa. Yeah. I think that, I think the way they're playing, the way West Ham are playing, but look, West Ham have got to find some form soon, but I think Villa will go there with a lot of confidence. So that's my value bet.
Yeah, there's a couple of teams. I bet I like Atletico Madrid Monday night. I didn't put them in our bets because we don't cover the Spanish league. And I hummed and hard between Norwich and Coventry. Ended up going for Coventry as my best bet, Steve. So last one standing, Steve. Last one this weekend.
Don't forget, Steve.
Look, there are a few you'd think are bankers, wouldn't you? So I think there'll be a lot of people.
Spurs, one of them.
Liverpool, Spurs, Man United.
To be honest, up until a couple of weeks ago, Tottenham might have been, but those 3 defeats and sort of getting knocked out the 2 cups. But I think a lot of people are going to be on Liverpool and City, aren't they? So I think you probably have a lot will go through.
All right.
All the best, Stevie. Stay warm.
Yeah, cheers. Talk to you. Yeah, absolutely. Talk to you next week. Bye. Bye.
Let's go on to the Nedbank Cup.
Yeah, Paul, can you believe it? I watched the penalty shootout last night. Amazulu got beat by Dondol United. Dondol's a team.
I saw Amazulu score.
Dondol knocked out Supersport in the previous round. Gavin rested all his players, all his major players, and it went to a penalty shootout. Dondol beat them. My mate, we saw at the airport. Don't be surprised if he gets fired this morning, but I couldn't believe they got beat. But it's last 16. Paul, we'll get the betting up here now.
Sekakuna, Cape Town Spurs.
Yeah, Cape Town City, Sean Bartlett's team. Yeah, they're going well in the first division. But, Sekakuna
7-10 favourites, okay.
Yeah, we get the betting up now. Paul, there was quite a variance with the different outlets, so just have a look at the betting. But Sekakuna, 7-10. Yeah, they're playing up Polokwane way, so major advantage.
All right, let's move on.
Golden Arrows, Royal AM, Paul. Yeah, they're playing Kwamashu. Royal AM beat them a couple of weeks ago, 2-0. But a tight game, Paul. If ever there's a game here, a draw. Cup games. I watched Arrows against Chiefs, scored a few goals. Were unlucky last week. 2 down against Supersport, got back to 2-1. But a tight game, Paul. Yeah, of the two, I like Royal AM.
Chipper, a 1-5 against some penny home defenders. They got any forwards?
Well, they're going to need a couple. Yeah. Got a fancy Chipper, Paul. But they fired their manager in midweek again. The Limpopo side, they're top of the Motsepe division. So you never know, but you'd think Chipper would be too good.
Pirates are playing Venda.
Paul's got to be Pirates. Paul, they're playing well, Paul. They bar losing the Sundowns. They played well, Orlando Pirates. I know 1-6 is short, but they should be too good for Venda. And TS Galaxy, Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch have come well.
That'll be a game.
TS Galaxy, they're not a bad team. I saw them beat Amazulu and Durban here. A tight game. Of the two, I think TS Galaxy will go through. But don't be surprised if it goes to extra time, Paul.
Kaizer Chiefs, good things.
Paul, they're playing at Orlando Stadium. Kazrick Stars, they're third in the first division.
They haven't lost.
They haven't lost in a long time. It should be Chiefs, Paul, but we know Chiefs. They have had this occasional blip, but for me, Chiefs got to go through.
All right, Budge, talk to me.
On to our exotic show. I score 6 for the weekend. I've banked Liverpool to beat Bournemouth. I've gone the field in the Everton, Brentford, Leeds, Brighton, and Leicester, Chelsea fixtures. Banked Tottenham to beat Forest and Man City to beat Crystal Palace, 162.
Go and collect.
On to the other soccer 6, I've gone that's actually wrong. But anyway, I've gone the field in the Bournemouth-Liverpool game. Banker Bristol City to beat Blackpool, Golden Arrows to beat Royal AM, the field in the Sundance Al Hakli game, which is right, and I don't see Empoli losing at home to Udinese, and I think Brentford will get at least a draw against Everton, 2-1-6.
All right,
on to our score 10. I'm banking Liverpool to beat Bournemouth, Real Madrid to beat Espanyol, Bayern Munich to beat Augsburg. I've gone RB Leipzig to avoid defeat at home against Borussia Mönchengladbach. On the field in the Everton versus Brentford match. Our second page, the field as well in the Leeds, Brighton and Hove Albion, as well as Leicester City, Chelsea. I've banked Tottenham to beat Notts Forest. I've thrown the draw in with Napoli because they've got a Champions League game in midweek against Atalanta, and I think Man City will be too good for Palace, 2-1-6. On to our Soccer 13.
The big one.
I've gone Man City to beat Crystal Palace. Chelsea win and draw at Leicester. Brighton win and draw at Leeds United. I've banked Tottenham to beat Notts Forest. Brentford win and draw at Everton. Going Birmingham City, chancing them to avoid defeat at home against Rotherham United. Fancy Coventry City to be too good at home for Hull City. Our second page, I'm chancing Preston North End to beat Cardiff. Watford to avoid defeat at Queen's Park Rangers, as long as Millwall as well, another away team, win and draw at Reading. I'm going Sheffield United, win and draw at home against Luton. And ending up with two bankers, Middlesbrough to win at Swansea and West Brom to beat Huddersfield Town, 256.
Budgie's best bet.
Budgie's bets, Paul. Let's hope the roll continues. Yeah, I'm going Liverpool and Arsenal to win. Liverpool to beat Bournemouth, Arsenal to beat Fulham, and over 2.5 goals in each game.
Okay, 2-1.
Yeah, I think there'll be plenty of goals in both games. I'm going over 2.5 goals and both teams to score, yes, in the Leicester versus Chelsea match.
Okay.
So 2-1, 3-1, whatever.
Okay.
And I think Newcastle will beat Wolves, Paul. 3,700
nice
to
bet.
200, yeah.
Okay, goals only.
Yeah, I'm going Arsenal, Aston Villa, Newcastle, all to score over 1.5 goals. And I'm going Liverpool to score over 2.5 goals, 4,200 to 200,
nice
yeah. Onto the championship, yeah.
Pretty hot.
I'm going Coventry City to beat Hull City, Middlesbrough to beat Swansea City, and on Sunday I think Norwich City will beat Sunderland and over 2.5 total goals. There's always goals in the Sunderland game. So that was 2,600 to 200. The bet I always enjoy, Paul. Both teams to score. I'll be going this week Birmingham City, Rotherham, QPR, Watford, Reading, Millwall, and Norwich City, Sunderland.
All in the championship.
2,300 to 200, all the championship, yeah.
Okay.
In Spain, yeah, Spanish quartet. When it comes up, I'm going Villarreal to beat Real Betis. I'm going Atletico Madrid to beat Girona. And over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, yes, in the Celta Vigo, Rayo Vallecano, and Athletic Bilbao, Barcelona games, 6,000 to 200.
Both teams to score
Paul, I've been with Barcelona. I've watched the last few weeks. They're not as tight as they were. They were lucky last week. With Dinkum scaling was a penalty. VAR never gave. Daylight robbery. So I think they will concede. And our Collis King 6 on Nexa. I'm going Liverpool to beat Bournemouth, Man City to beat Palace, Arsenal to beat Fulham, Newcastle to beat Wolves, Burnley to beat Wigan, and Coventry to beat Hull City, 2,900 to 200.
I like that bet as well, Budge. Well, it looks good on the bets. You've been red hot lately. Every week you seem to strike. Keep it up. Don't forget last one standing. There's only a few going through in the last one, but the final one starts now with 12 or so games to go.
Yep, 12 rounds to go.
12 rounds to go. Get your bets in. It's a wonderful prize. You can get over there. And who's the lady who's won this last one?
Kelly Potts.
Kelly Potts.
She's going to become the first.
She could be the first female to win it.
Paul. No.
Yeah, well done. They really are doing well, the girls. And don't forget to get on the last one. Until next time, stay on side.